This is Tim Newton today, and there's a big storm heading our way. It's currently Typhoon Noru. It's made its way through the Philippines, wreaking havoc there, and heading towards the Vietnamese coast today, and then on to Laos and Thailand in the coming days. So we'll bring you up to date with that, how it may affect you if you're living in Thailand, and the areas that are most likely to be affected, plus a whole lot more. Hello friends, and welcome once again to Tim Newton today as we check out all the main stories from around Thailand and the region. We will be doing some extensive coverage about the progress of the current Typhoon Noru, which will eventually become a tropical storm in coming days, but we'll discuss that later on in the program. And thank you very much to 5 Star Marine, our constant sponsors here at the program, and inviting you to make sure you go on a bit of a trip out to the islands with 5 Star Marine whenever you're down on the southern island. And with that, let's get started with today's program. And this could become one of those two-tier stories from the Bangkok Post. New VAT, that's a value-added tax, mulled that targets luxury goods, saying that the system uses the current VAT rate of 7% for general goods, but with a higher rate for luxury items, which would basically mean that they're taxing people who are spending money on luxury items. And down the bottom there, the source said that some countries already use a 2-tier VAT rate, basically making excuses before they need to. And then a 2-tier rate should not have a major impact on most Thais, as they typically consume general goods and services, which will be charged at the current VAT rate. Only certain items such as liquor or cigarettes would be subject to the higher rate, arguing whether things like liquor and cigarettes would be termed as luxury items. Anyway, they do in this article. And then further down it says, as a result of the borrowing that the government's been doing recently, the government raised the ceiling of the public debt to GDP ratio to 70%, up from 60%, to accommodate the growing debt burdens. The current debt to GDP ratio stood at 60.8% in July this year. Now, these numbers get sort of bandied around from time to time. Let's just check out exactly what the numbers are at the moment from, or at least a source that I trust. This is from tradingeconomics.com, showing there that Thailand is currently at 59.61%, up from an earlier 50.5%, so a little bit lower in truth than they're reporting at the Bangkok Post. And speaking about the debt to GDP ratios, I thought it might be interesting to see where Thailand relates to maybe the rest of the world. And here are the main offenders from the bottom up. Venezuela is the number one worst country with a public debt to GDP ratio, 350%. The United States not figuring too well. They're at 137%. Singapore just next door at 131%. But if you'd like to read more about that, that's at tradingeconomics.com with a whole lot of different ratios and economic data if you're interested. To our next story today, and this one from The Nation, reporting that Pheu Thai says Royet win foretells landslide victory in general election. Now, I know a lot of you may not be interested in politics. The thing about this, though, is that we are looking at sort of a bit of a quantum shift in the political dynamic here in Thailand, and this could mean, well, disaster for the current Palang Pracharat coalition. This story says that the main opposition Pheu Thai party hailed its Roy Et election victory on Sunday as clear evidence it will win the upcoming general election by a landslide. Roy Et being one of the northeast provinces up sort of in, well, probably you'd call it the heartland of Pheu Thai. But you can see what a landslide it actually was, where the Pheu Thai candidate received more than 80% of the votes. Trailing far behind in second was an independent candidate who contested for Palang Pracharat at the previous Royet provincial organisation election. And just further, Pheu Thai saying that they've enjoyed victories in a series of local elections, including the 20 seats it secured from the Bangkok Council back in May, and Pheu Thai also winning the Kalasan provincial organisation election by a landslide on August the 16th. Third paragraph down there, these signs point to a Pheu Thai victory, so the Secretary-General says, in the next election, adding that people wanted to see political change and a new leader for the country. Well, that's to be seen, but signs are from some of these elections held at this time of the year, even though they're only provincial, it could be a bit of a pointer to what will be happening in the general election, which should be held sometime March, April or May next year. You're watching the TNT program. Thank you very much. Please, if you do get the opportunity, just subscribe to the channel. Happy to say that we have kicked over 10,000 subscriptions, 10,000 real ones after the drama last week with somebody trying to troll us with fake subs. Anyway, we have actually got over 10,000 real subs, so I'm very, very grateful and looking forward to building on that. So thanks to you, and if you haven't subscribed, that's how you do it down there. Let's go to our next story now, and from the TTR Weekly, reporting that no China flights in Thai Airways winter schedule, and there it says that they're going to be offering flights to 34 destinations in Europe, Australia and Asia. Now this schedule takes them from October through to March next year. Number of destinations served is the same as the current timetable, which ran from the 27th of March to the 29th of October this year. So Thai Airways not adding any extra services. Interesting. Then it says, in Asia, the airline serves 6 destinations in Japan. No flights are listed to mainland China based on the current travel restrictions in China. In contrast, Thai will serve 6 destinations in India. And all the airline services to Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam have been transferred to Thai Smile, which operates a fleet of A320s. So moving some of their bigger planes down to their smaller planes because of the lower capacity for travel at the moment. And here's a list of where they're heading overseas in pink, and then the regional routes in yellow. So it looks like Thai Airways, although they're battling their way out of bankruptcy at the moment, are not going to be adding to their schedule over the next 6 months or so. Now, somebody asked me yesterday on the messages, and thank you very much to all the people that send me messages and, of course, send messages and comments to the channel. I do read them all, and I do appreciate them. So somebody said, you mentioned on Saturday that you did some coverage for CNN during the Thai cave rescue. And yes, I did. Now, they said, could you give us a link to the YouTube clips? Well, because they were live, for whatever reason, and because it was an ongoing story with a lot of different reporters, CNN didn't bother to turn those into YouTube clips, because the story was so dynamic and changing so quickly. But at least my sister did get a screenshot, and so she did get a screenshot of me talking. Now, it wasn't my face on the screen, it was me doing a voice link. But it was from July the 2nd to the 10th, and I did 4 different reports about the Chiang Rai cave rescues. So thank you very much to the person who asked. I wish I did have some clips. That'd be good to sort of keep for my CV, but at least my sister did take the trouble to get a few screenshots of the coverage on CNN. Let's talk storms. Now, of course, it was downpours and torrential monsoonal rain that caused the whole problem with the Thai cave rescue 4 years ago for those 13 young soccer players. Now, we do have another tropical storm heading our way. Now, let's just sort of break this down a little bit. We'll start with a weather warning from the TMD, the Thai Meteorological Department, and at 4 o'clock this morning, so that's what, as of now, some 4 hours ago, the Typhoon Noru is over the middle of the South China Sea, about 490 kilometres east of Da Nang in Vietnam, and it's got sustained winds of about 150 kilometres an hour, and landfall is expected over the middle of the Vietnamese coast by the 28th of September. So this is the progress. Of course, it's been through the Philippines, having killed 6 people already and dropping torrential rain on poor old Luzon Island there in the Philippines. Now, from the 28th of September, you can see all the areas there that are being issued warnings, including the northeast, central, east and southern areas. Now, here's a synoptic chart that I've sort of added a few extra lines to help you understand what's going on. And you can see the big red dot there with the blue lines around it. That is the current typhoon. You've got the Philippines on one side, and you can see it heading for the Vietnamese coast, and then it would head into Laos and then into the northeast of Thailand and then into the southern part of northern Thailand beyond that. And they're not expecting it to actually reach any of the Thai countryside until later on Thursday or Friday this week. Of course, being such a strong storm, it will drag in a lot of air out of the Indian Ocean. And if you want to sort of get oriented with that map, I've done a red dot there in the middle where Bangkok is, and then further down, that is the island of Phuket. And even though a lot of the action is going to be up in the northern part of Thailand, certainly the southern areas won't get away unscathed, because that storm being so big will drag in a lot of moist air from the Indian Ocean, causing quite a lot of heavy rain down in the south as well. But that won't be probably until Thursday or Friday this week. Now, how is all this being covered? Vietnam Plus says the Typhoon Noru to affect Vietnam's mainland on late September the 27th. That's today. And just noting, the Typhoon Noru is gaining strength while moving westward at 20 to 25 kilometres per hour. Expected to make landfall in central Vietnam in the afternoon or evening of today. And Thai PBS World is covering it a bit more locally, with coverage and responses from the new Bangkok governor. It says that Bangkok takes precautions ahead of arrival of tropical storm Noru this Thursday, noting that once it crosses into Vietnam, heading through Laos into Thailand, it will turn into a tropical storm and decrease in its intensity, although it will still bring plenty of local rain. It's not heading towards Bangkok. It will be affecting mostly directly the northeast and northern parts of Thailand. And the report says that the BMA is taking steps including draining water out of canals, procuring 2.5 million sandbags, and it's expected to mostly affect northeastern provinces this Thursday. It says that the Bangkok governor is warning that runoffs from the Passak Reservoir in Lopburi and from the Chao Phraya Reservoir, which will put pressure on the eastern part of Bangkok and both sides of the Chao Phraya River. Now, given that there will probably be some rain as a result of this tropical storm, the floodwaters that will come down and affect the Chao Phraya River will come in the days or even weeks after, and so Bangkok probably set for some more flooding over the next week, which is probably the last thing they need at the moment. And Chad Chart's taken the opportunity to say that this is a clear sign of climate change and the weather conditions are bound to get more extreme in the future. I think we've already shown with different graphs showing the rainfall and the rise of the waters from the Gulf of Thailand and the sinking of Bangkok, that it's all pointing in a poor direction for the future of some of the lower lying areas of Bangkok. He also identified Lat Krabang, Bangkhan, Minburi and Don Muang as more vulnerable to flooding than other districts in the capital, there to the east and the north of the centre of Bangkok. And other coverage, this one from the Tiger, included a video. Floods tear through a highway in northeast Thailand, and there was dramatic aerial footage. You can check that out at the Tiger. And it says that dramatic aerial footage of floods in northeast Thailand reveal water hurling through a 30-metre gap in the highway in Roi Et. And just noting there that farmers are trying to deliver grass to cows that are reportedly stuck on islands in the colossal flood. And the third paragraph saying that weather conditions are only set to get worse in northeast Thailand this week, with tropical storm Noru, which has been wreaking havoc in the Philippines, on its way to Thailand. So that's our coverage about the progress of the current Typhoon Noru and soon-to-be tropical storm after it crosses through Vietnam, Laos and then into Thailand. If there's any updates that we think that you need to know urgently, we'll certainly go live and keep you up to date with that particular tropical storm and the weather that's going to be affecting the rest of Thailand. This is the TNT program. It's Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. This Saturday, we will be doing our live program for the very first time with an assistant. So we'll find out more about who that person is on Saturday. So you can join us 9 a.m. Thai time. And let's hope this week's program is a bit better than last Saturday's. The Bangkok Post reporting that Myanmar beauty queen who criticised the junta, that's the junta in Myanmar, granted asylum, and a lot of people will be happy to hear this news. The former Myanmar beauty queen detained at Suvarnabhumi Airport last week. The Myanmar military issued a warrant for her arrest after she spoke out against the junta whilst on stage as one of the 20 finalists in the Miss Grand International Beauty pageant. A security source told the Bangkok Post that she will leave Thailand on a Korean Airlines flight today. The Miss Grand International Myanmar 2020 will stop over at South Korea's Incheon Airport for a quick transit before she heads to Toronto, Canada, where she will arrive tonight, Toronto time. So fair travels to that pretty lady. And this report from the Pattaya News, the number of psychiatric patients suffering from marijuana use appears to be increasing after decriminalisation, according to a Thai psychiatric hospital. And this hospital reported an increasing number of psychiatric patients being admitted due to recreational cannabis use after the plant was decriminalised in Thailand on June the 9th. Down to the third paragraph, most of the drug-addicted patients are found with the use of cannabis, so the story claims. They've increased from 122 cases in all of last year to 103 cases within the 8 months of January to August this year. And quoting the hospital, of the 103 cases, 87 were outpatients who had been treated at the hospital for marijuana use for a total of 339 times. Well, I think we'd all be looking for a larger sample size before jumping to any conclusions, and we look forward to seeing some further reports from other psychiatric hospitals and health professionals around the country before jumping to any huge conclusions. But there's no doubt that the decriminalisation and people's perhaps misinterpretation of what the decriminalisation was meant to mean. And of course, we're still waiting for some sort of legislation to be passed by the Thai Parliament. So we are in a twilight zone with this particular issue. And we'll look forward to some further reports to see if anything can be made, anything can be proven about the effects of this decriminalisation on the broader Thai community. But with that, I thank you very much for watching today. This was Tim Newton today. If you haven't subscribed, we would warmly invite you to do so. Also, big thanks to 5 Star Marine for their consistent support of the program. And we invite you to take a trip on a 5 Star Marine boat when you're next down in Phuket. But with that, I thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back again tomorrow.